Now on the project, what a day in politics.
Yeah, hey Mel, it's been pretty compelling viewing. A lot has gone on in the last 24 hours with the National Party, but before we get into that, let's take a moment to remember its most recent leader, Judith Collins.
No amount of prayer can help Judith Collins now. Do you want the leadership ever?
No. Of course, there's always an opportunity, isn't there? You never know where that next bus is coming from.
She's gone, Birgit. She's leaving knowing more people wanted David Seymour as Prime Minister than her.
I think you're going to find we might have a few jokes.
Collins' 16-month leadership of the National Party wasn't the laugh fest she'd hoped.
When can we determine that you're joking?
When my eyebrow goes up.
The election campaign was far from smooth.
Do you want to have a photo with me? Do you want to have a photo? No. Okay.
She didn't always have her finger on the pulse.
How much is a 1 kilogram block of cheese?
I think it's about $4 or $5, something like that, depending on the cheese.
My husband is Samoan, so talofa.
Is there something wrong with me being white?
Taking over as leader against an incredibly popular Prime Minister was always going to be a road to nowhere.
I didn't come into politics to be a namby-pamby.
And as COVID wreaked havoc and the government stood front and centre, the opposition failed to get any real hits. So here we are, Crusher Collins has been crushed. For now.
Is it fun being leader? No, it's not fun, but it's the only place I belong.
Well, joining us now, a News Hub's political editor, Tova O'Brien, and former National Press Secretary, Ben Thomas. Now, we want to start with you both saying something nice about Judith on her final day as leader. Tova?
I've got loads of nice things to say about Judith Collins. She is smart, she's experienced, she's fierce, she's loyal to those that she chooses to be loyal to. She's very confident, she's very resilient, as we've learned. I think I've worked with her maybe for a decade around this place as a backbencher minister and leader of the opposition, and she has brought good game to all of those roles.
What about you, Ben?
Well, I think, as Tova said, politicians don't come a lot tougher than Judith Collins. But the other thing is, throughout her time, both as a minister when I was working in the Beehive and as leader of the opposition, she's extremely good as an employer, as a boss to her staff. And that's by no means a universal in politics. With the old rule that, you disregard how people treat you and you look at how they treat the waiter, by that measure, Judith Collins is a very nice person.
Oh, nice one, well put. Tova, we just waited and waited for that caucus meeting to end today. What the heck was going on behind closed doors, do you reckon?
Oh, to be a fly on the wall of that caucus room today, I would die a happy fly. Who knows? Who knows? It took them until about midday to pass that vote of no confidence. I do know that. And then there was a bit of decision making. The National Party kind of makes up its leadership process as it goes along, where every time these things come up, and they come up more frequently at the minute. So it was determining how it was going to go through that process and kick the leadership decision to Tuesday. So that was what was going on. But yeah, the prelude would have been something quite spectacular given what we saw last night.
Right, we don't find out till Tuesday, but just quickly, each give us your pick. This time next week, who's leading the National Party? Ben?
Well, look, I think Simon Bridges will be making the case to his colleagues that next Tuesday they can all wake up and pretend that the last 18 months has been a terrible dream and pick up where they left off. And he'll say, I should have gotten a chance to run in 2020, and he's probably right.
Tova?
And I just think there are too many variables to pick. If Mark Mitchell and Simon Bridges both run, does that split that centre-right vote? If Christopher Luxon runs, does he convince the caucus that his ambition and that his experience is actually kind of supersedes the fact that no one has a clue who the man is? Is Chris Bishop the dark horse, or has he burnt too many bridges after burning bridges with that Todd Malaku? So honestly, I wouldn't pick it. I wouldn't put money on this one.
Wow.
Ben, whoever is the leader next week, will that person be running for PM in 2023, or will that person just be a placeholder?
Well, they could be running in 2023 and be a placeholder, depending on how the polls go. You can't just go to a training course and become John Key or Jacinda Ardern. National will have to just choose their best option and see how things fall. But I would think that they wouldn't want too many more leadership changes before 2023.
Tova O'Brien, Ben Thomas, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, welcome to the project. Oh man, so much going on there. And I can't believe that Tova can't even pick it at the moment. I mean, if she doesn't have a view on it, you really know it's up for grabs.
What excites me is how excited you are about all of this.
I am, honestly. I was just watching the backs of people's heads at that media conference today, waiting for it to start. Well, later in our show, we're going to have an exclusive interview from our News Hub colleague Amelia Wade with Judith Collins about who she is going to be backing to be the next leader. That's coming up on our show. OK, back to our big story from today, the National Party leadership. And News Hub reporter Amelia Wade spoke with Judith Collins just a few minutes ago, an exclusive chat about the future of that leadership. Here's their conversation.
What are your thoughts about how everything went down today?
Actually, I'm very, very pleased.
You're pleased with how it went?
Yeah, I am.
Are you disappointed you're no longer leader?
No, it's a great relief.
Who has your support to be the next leader?
Oh, there will be a couple of candidates, I'm sure.
Would Simon Bridges have your support?
No.
Would Chris Luxon have your support?
He might.
What about Mark Mitchell?
No.
So Christopher Luxon is your pick?
Well, actually, I really like Christopher. He works really hard and he's highly intelligent.
And do you intend to stay with the National Party?
Absolutely.
Will you go down fighting if the National Party decides to oust you?
What do you mean?
If the National Party decides that you should no longer be with the party?
I think that's just a ridiculous suggestion.
Will you fight to the bitter end?
I think that's a ridiculous suggestion.
Wow.
That's fascinating. And Judith Collins, particularly talkative tonight, surprisingly talkative, you might say, for the evening of a very big day. So that was a no to Simon Bridges, a no to Mark Mitchell, and a big yes to Christopher Luxon.
Do you want her supporting you if you're Christopher Luxon? You're like, don't say anything, don't mention my name.
Very, very interesting. And again, every time we think this story is over, there's a new development. So if there's anything further between now and 7:30, we'll bring it to you.